man walk with me for a second. All right, just picture this. I'm not talking about this season necessarily, but think a little ahead. Imagine Luka Doncic running the point, DeAndre Ayton in the paint, and then you throw in 3 long athletic two-way wings like Daron Holmes, Arthur Kaluma, and Darius Bazley. Yes, I know. It sounds futuristic, maybe even a bit too dreamy, but you can almost see it taking shape. You've got that size, that length, that mobility on the wings, guys who can switch 1 through 5, hold their own defensively, and as they keep developing knockdown threes consistently. That's the formula that's working in today's NBA, especially when you've already got a generational playmaker in Luka and a potentially dominant big like Ayton. And look, the Lakers clearly know what direction they want to go in once LeBron decides to walk away from the game or from the franchise. You can sense they're trying to stack young talent with length and versatility. Wings who can defend, run the floor, and don't need the ball all the time to impact the game. We've seen teams succeed with that blueprint, and the Lakers seem to be setting themselves up to do exactly that. Daron Holmes is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. He was projected to go as high as the 15th pick on some draft boards. Legit first-round talent. So why did he fall? It wasn't because of his skill set. It was mainly age and injury concerns. He's 21, which to some GMs apparently is ancient, right? Meanwhile, younger prospects are being prioritized even when they're raw or less NBA ready. But Holmes, man, he's a real player. Hyper-athletic, explosive slasher, great off-ball movement, and already regarded as an NBA-level defender. The guy can be a lob threat, can finish through contact, and shows glimpses of being a playmaker. He's not just out there running around, he's reading the floor, picking his spots. It's a bit of a bummer we're not seeing him fully unleashed in Summer League, but the potential is there. And theoretically, he's the kind of wing who could defend 1 through 5 if he tightens up his game, especially with the size and strength he brings. Then you look at Arthur Kaluma, 6'8", around 225 pounds, just a physical presence. And not only that, he hit 50% from beyond the arc recently. Now that number might not hold up through a full NBA season, but he showed he's got that in his bag. And if he keeps working, keeps developing, he could be one of those 3-and-D guys with even more upside. In Summer League, he looks solid switching out on guards, holding his own in the post, fighting through screens, and just looking physically mature compared to a lot of other wings. He just looks massive on the court. He's the kind of guy who doesn't shy away from contact and takes pride in defense. Then there's Darius Bazley, who's been around the league a bit already, but still has that upside. Swiss Army knife type of player. Needs work on his jumper, sure, but he's shown flashes of being able to take defenders off the dribble switch across multiple positions, block shots, and play with high energy. Just the other night, he put up 5 blocks. He's not the most polished scorer, but in terms of athleticism and tools, he fits the mold perfectly for the kind of two-way wing you want around Luka. Now picture that unit around Doncic and Ayton. That's a recipe for success. Luka, we already know, is going to give you 30 points a night. He's taking 20 shots per game minimum, and he's dropping somewhere between 8 to 10 assists on top of that. We're talking about a guy who's creating 60, 70 points per game between his own scoring and the buckets he sets up. And if Ayton really buys in, if he commits to being the best version of himself, you're looking at potentially the best pick-and-roll duo in the league. Last year, Ayton was 4th in pick-and-roll efficiency, and that was on a Portland team that didn't even have a true point guard. Now plug him in next to Luka, come on, that could be special. That's a two-man game that could be absolutely unstoppable, and Ayton's already put up 17 and 10 for his career. That's without Luka setting him up. You're telling me that with Luka running point, he can't get a few more easy buckets every night and bump those numbers up to 22 or 23 a game. That seems very realistic. Because Luka just makes life easier for everyone around him. He collapses defenses, reads the floor like a veteran quarterback, and makes passes most guys wouldn't even think to attempt. But even with all that, Luka and Ayton alone aren't enough. To win in today's NBA, you need size on the perimeter. You need defenders who can switch wings, who can crash the glass, close out on shooters, and rotate quickly. That's why this trio of Holmes, Kaluma, and Bazley, or even just players like them, make so much sense. They're all between 6'8" and 6'9". All have wingspans near or over 7 feet. All bring elite athleticism. And if they develop that reliable jumper, man, now you've really got something. People always ask, what's the Lakers' Plan for the future. What's the vision post LeBron? And I think we're seeing it play out in real time. They're stacking long, versatile wings and betting on development. They're building the kind of roster that can grow alongside Luka and become sustainable over time, even with the new CBA making it harder to stack superstar salaries. And look, maybe not all of these guys hit. That's fine. That's how the league works. But if even one or two of them pan out, if Holmes becomes your version of Andrew Wiggins or Kaluma turns into a Jaylen Brown type slasher with a consistent jumper, then you've hit gold. You don't need all of them to become stars. You just need one or two of them to be reliable two-way starters who can play 30-plus minutes in playoff games and guard multiple positions. And maybe they don't all come from within. Maybe they flip some of these guys in future trades and bring in similar wings who are more proven. But the model doesn't change. The model is surround Luka and Ayton with length defense and enough shooting to punish teams that try to collapse the paint or double team. Think about it. What's the best way to win championships today? It's not just about having two stars. Anymore, it's about having two stars and the right role players. Depth, versatility, defensive identity. That's what makes the difference in the playoffs. You got Luka and Ayton giving you 50, maybe 60 points a night combined. Add 3 wings who can chip in 10 to 15, each defend at a high level and hit open threes. Now you're cooking. And those wings don't even need to be elite shooters. They just need to be good enough that defenses have to respect them. If Holmes, Kaluma, and Basley can each get up to 37% from deep, that opens up the entire floor. That gives Luka the driving lanes he needs. That gives Ayton room to roll. That gives you spacing options and the flexibility to run different sets depending on the matchup. The thing is, Luka isn't the most athletic guy. He's not a lockdown defender. So what do? You build a team around him in a way that hides his flaws and maximizes his strengths. You put long athletic defenders next to him who can cover, ground switch, and make up for what Luka lacks physically. That's the vision. That's the modern NBA model. Guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo. Big wings, tough defenders, stars who are surrounded by switchable, doughy tall players who don't need the ball in their hands constantly. And if Ayton can take a leap defensively, if he decides to fully commit to being a shot blocker, a rim protector, then that backline becomes elite. Even with Luka's defensive limitations, you could easily be a top 5 defense in the league. Because if you got a bunch of 6'9" wings with 7-foot wingspans flying around, plugging gaps, contesting shots, and forcing turnovers, it makes everyone's job easier. It's the same reason the Celtics are always in the hunt. Their wings make life hell for opposing offenses. So I see what the Lakers are trying to do. They've got a clear roadmap. And again, even if Holmes or Kaluma or Basley don't all work out, the blueprint stays the same. That's the profile you target. That's the mold you build around. And you keep taking swings at those types of players until you find the right mix that fits. This league moves fast, but the teams that stay ahead of the curve are the ones that know who they are and what kind of identity they want to build. And identity matters, especially now with the way the cap is structured. You can't just go out and grab 3 stars and hope the rest falls into place. You need to be smart, strategic, and intentional. You need young talent on good contracts who can grow and give you flexibility. You need players who fit with Luka and Ayton, not just guys who are talented on their own. That's why I'm so intrigued by what the Lakers are putting together. You're not seeing random roster moves. You're seeing a theme, a philosophy, a direction. And when you put that next to a guy like Luka who can carry your offense night in and night out, that becomes a really dangerous combination. And what really gets me excited, what I think people aren't talking about enough, is how young these guys still are. Like, yeah, Darren Holmes is 21, Basley's only 24, and Kaluma is right there too. These are guys with NBA frames already, and they're just scratching the surface of what they can be. You look at some of the top wings in the league today, the ones making real noise in the playoffs, most of them didn't really hit their peak until they were 25, 26. So the Lakers are getting ahead of the curve here. They're not waiting for ready-made guys who already reached their ceiling. They're trying to mold and grow the kind of players every team's going to want 2 or 3 years from now. That's the long play, and it's smart. People love to jump to conclusions based on one summer league game or even a small stretch of NBA minutes. But what the smart front offices are doing now is projecting forward. They're looking at body types, work ethic, mental makeup, and how a player fits into modern schemes. They're asking, Can this guy switch across 3 or 4 positions? Can he survive on the perimeter? Can he give us versatility on both ends? The Lakers are starting to filter their roster through that lens. And when you do that, you stop caring about just raw stats and start focusing on fit and function. That's what's happening here. And yeah, I get it. These aren't flashy names yet. You're not going to see Basley jerseys flying off the shelves, and Holmes or Kaluma probably aren't leading SportsCenter highlights right now, but that's fine. That's how foundational role players are built. You bring them in, you give them a role, you develop them, and you let them grow next to your stars. Because let's be real, Luka is the engine. Everything revolves around him. So if you're building around him, you need guys who won't get in the way of that, but instead elevate what he does. Take Holmes again. He's not someone who needs 15 touches a game to feel involved. He's happy screening, rolling, cutting, defending, crashing the boards, doing all the little things. And that's perfect next to a high usage creator like Luka. He doesn't want someone else taking the ball out of his hands. He wants teammates who know how to play off of him. And Holmes looks like he gets that. Same goes for Kaluma. When he's locked in, he brings his physical intensity like a guy who's been in the league for 5 or 6 years already. He's not scared of contact. He rebounds with force. He'll guard the other team's best wing. And when his shot is falling, forget about it. He becomes one of those glue guys that every playoff team needs. You look at Denver, you look at Miami, you look at Boston. They all have these role players who aren't stars but who win you games by doing the dirty work. Kaluma could absolutely be one of those guys. And I keep going back to 8 and 2 because I think people have kind of forgotten just how good he can be. Everyone got caught up in the noise, the drama in Phoenix, the questions about effort, the weird stuff behind the scenes. But when you just watch the film, the guy can hoop. He's got elite touch around the basket. He's got a jumper from the mid-range. He can run the floor. And when he's engaged defensively, he can anchor a unit. He's not a stiff. He's not some throwback big that can't keep up. He's modern, he's mobile, and with the right system, I really believe he can flourish. And what better system than one where he's being spoon-fed by Luka? Think about it. Luka draws 2 defenders basically every time he comes off a pick. That leaves Ayton rolling downhill with either a mismatch or a wide open lane. You don't think that's going to turn into easy dunks floaters and short roll opportunities. That's tailor-made for him. That's how you get a guy re-energized, re-engaged. You put him in a spot where his job is clear, his role is simple, and the path to impact is right in front of him. No confusion, no clutter. And with Ayton, it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about sharpening the edges, tightening the focus. Just be the best version of what you already are. Protect the rim rebound like a beast and finish everything Luka gives you. That's it. You don't need him taking turnaround jumpers or trying to post up every trip. That's not the game anymore. That's not what this team needs. What they need is a big who plays within a system, brings effort every night, and makes his presence felt in the paint. Ayton can absolutely be that guy. And I'll tell you what else stands out to me. The Lakers are betting on internal development. That might sound basic, but in today's NBA, that's bold. Most teams are looking to swing for the fences, throw max deals at the next big name, or trade half the roster for a star. But what the Lakers are doing right now is more subtle. They're building something sustainable. They're trying to win now and later, and I think that's smart because you can't afford to be top-heavy anymore. Not with the way the salary cap is structured now. You need cheap contributors. You need guys on rookie deals or small contracts who can play real minutes. And if 1 or 2 of these wings pop, if Holmes becomes a 12-7 guy with lockdown defense, or if Kaluma starts hitting threes consistently and guarding multiple positions, that changes your entire outlook. Suddenly you've got lineup flexibility. You can go small, you can go big, you can switch everything, you can zone up. You've got options. And that's what wins games in May and June. It's not just about stacking stars anymore. It's about depth. It's about adaptability. It's about finding 5 guys who can survive and thrive together on both ends of the floor. And when I look at what this Lakers team could be, with Luka orchestrating 8 and finishing and a bunch of switchable hungry wings flying around, that's scary. That's the kind of team that makes noise. That's the kind of team that can beat anyone on a given night. And honestly, I think that's what Luka's been waiting for. Not just talent, but fit. Not just guys who can score, but guys who complement what he does. For years, it's felt like he's been carrying too much of the load, trying to create every shot guard, multiple positions, lead the team emotionally, all of it. And that wears on a guy, especially when you're putting up monster numbers and still falling short in the postseason. That's when doubt starts creeping in. But now, with Aiden potentially becoming a real running mate and these wings giving him defensive cover and spacing, that could be the shift he needs. And I don't think we've even seen Luka's final form yet. I really don't. We know what he can do. He's a 30-point triple-double waiting to happen. But imagine what he becomes when he finally trusts the guys around him. When he doesn't feel like he has to dominate every single possession. When he can take a playoff rest for a few minutes and know the team will survive without him. That's when the best players take the leap. That's when the game slows down even more. That's when you get true playoff dominance. So yeah, this roster might not be flashy right now. But the vision is clear. And it's exciting. You're building around a superstar with a big athletic defensive-minded core. You're investing in player development. You're creating a system where roles are defined, responsibilities are shared, and everyone knows how to contribute. That's how winners are built. Not overnight, but brick by brick, piece by piece. The Lakers look like they're laying that foundation. And if it works, if even half of these guys pan out, this could be a scary team. Not just a good regular season squad, but a problem in the playoffs. A team that no one wants to face in a 7-game series. Because it's not just about who scores the most. It's about who defends, who rotates, who rebounds, who communicates, who closes games with discipline and poise. And that's what this group on paper is starting to look like. So I'm keeping an eye on them. I'm not saying they're ready to lift a trophy next season, but the foundation is being laid. And it's being laid the right way. With length, with toughness, with vision, and with purpose. That's how you build something that lasts. And if Luka buys in, if Aiden rises to the moment, and if even one of these wings becomes what they're capable of being, man, this could be the beginning of something very real. Just wait. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. A major buzz has been stirring in the NBA world, sparking heated debates among fans and analysts alike. Rumors are swirling that Giannis Antetokounmpo, the superstar forward currently lighting up the court for the Milwaukee Bucks, could be the newest addition to the Los Angeles Lakers. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the mere possibility of this move has sent shockwaves to the league, hinting at a seismic shift in the balance of power. Giannis, known as the Greek Freak for his extraordinary athleticism and versatility, has been the cornerstone of the Bucks' recent successes. His combination of size, skill, and relentless energy has earned him multiple MVP awards and propelled Milwaukee to an NBA championship in 2021. The idea of him donning the iconic purple and gold jersey is both tantalizing and controversial, as it could reshape the Lakers' future and potentially ignite a new era of dominance in the Western Conference. Sources close to the situation suggest that talks between the Lakers front office and Giannis' representatives have been quietly underway. The Lakers, historically, one of the NBA's most storied franchises, have been eager to rebuild around a superstar capable of restoring their glory. With LeBron James entering the latter stages of his career, acquiring a player of Giannis' caliber could be the Lakers' answer to staying competitive at the highest level. Of course, the implications of such a blockbuster move would ripple far beyond Los Angeles. Milwaukee, having built their roster around Giannis for years, would face the daunting task of restructuring their team. Fans in Wisconsin, still riding the sea high from their championship run, would undoubtedly be stunned and heartbroken at the prospect of losing their franchise player. Financially, the Lakers would need to navigate the salary cap intricacies to accommodate a player of Giannis' stature, likely involving trades and strategic roster moves.